Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicola and today I am bringing you a class that is suitable for the first trimester of your pregnancy. So maybe you just found out you are about to have a baby or you are already a little bit further along. Doesn't matter. Congratulations. And if you were practicing yoga or even if you haven't been practicing ever, it's safe to practice when you know a few things, maybe what to avoid, what not to do, what to do. So this practice will be really safe for you and your baby. And it is Hatha style yoga, which means there are not going to be any sun salutations, so no plank pose, no flows, so it will be quite steady, let's say, and we will also hold some of the poses for an extended period of time to really get the stretch and also the strength. So in order to be ready and prepared for the birth, which seems quite far away, but still we want to be preparing as soon as we can. It's also important to keep the body in good shape, to keep it flexible, to keep it strong, so then you can handle the birth quite easily, given the circumstances, and not only the birth, but then also the care of the baby afterwards. That being said, you won't be needing any props for this practice, but if you want some couch cushions or bed pillows, maybe to make the poses, some of the poses more accessible or more comfortable, you definitely can. The first trimester also can be tricky because you might be feeling quite dizzy, you might be feeling like you are short of breath because the lungs are growing, or you might be feeling like you don't have much energy. So just listen to your body, and anytime that you feel like, oh, I cannot breathe anymore, I cannot do this, you can just rest in easy child's pose, just really resting your forehead onto the mat and just stay there for as long as you need to. Every woman experiences it differently. You can have also very sore breasts, so we won't be doing any poses lying down on our belly because I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable regarding your breasts. Okay, so we can start then. I will just come back to seated as I was. And we will start just with a short meditation to connect to our heart, to our womb. So you can bring one hand onto the heart area and the other onto your lower belly. Close your eyes and slowly start focusing inwards. As I said, you might be experiencing shortness of breath. So if you are feeling uncomfortable breathing through the nose like we normally do in yoga, it's okay, just breathe through your mouth, whatever you can. You don't have to go so deep with your breath either. Just don't try to push yourself and meet your body where it's at the moment. We also want this sequence to be as calming as possible, because some of you might have been after a long fertility journey, or you might have experienced a loss. So we want to cultivate some calmness, reduce the anxiety, and just believing that everything will be all right. You and your baby are healthy. Feel the heart being connected to the womb, to the uterus. The heart is giving all its love to the womb, to your baby. And at the same time, the baby is giving back to the heart its love. In Chinese medicine, this connection is called Baomai. And we want to keep this channel open and the connection between the heart and the uterus clear. Slowly open your eyes and then circle your arms up. Exhale, bring them back down. Inhale up. Exhale. One more like this. Exhale. Now rise just the right arm up and bend to the side for a side body stretch. Come back to center, we will switch sides. Now the left arm goes up and over. Back to center, place your hands onto your knees and just start doing some circles with your body. Just as far as you can go. No need to push anything, we are just trying to release the lower body, release the hips, the pelvic area. Bringing fresh blood, fresh oxygen to the baby, keeping it happy and healthy. Let's switch sides. And then slowly come back to center. Come onto your hands and knees into the tabletop position. So the hands are directly under the shoulders, the knees about hip-width distance apart under the hips. And we will do a few rounds of cat and cow to strengthen and release the back. So inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round and contract through your spine. Inhale, drop the belly, gaze up. Exhale, round and contract, push into the ground. A few more like this and follow your own breath. Last round. And release. Keep your left hand as it is, just pick up your right one and thread it under the left one for thread the needle. So stretching into the back, into the shoulder blades. Just make sure that your hips stay as they are, kind of in the center. They are not shifting to the left much. And you can also use the left hand as a leverage to keep pressing a little bit back to the right. So you should feel a nice stretch in the shoulder, in between the shoulder blades. This area can get really stiff when we are stressed, anxious. And also when the belly will grow, the back will need to support our weight more and more. So we want to make sure that the back is ready for the load. Let's release, come back to center, bring the right arm under the shoulder, and we will just switch sides. So now the left arm threads under, and the same thing on the other side. Even though the upper body is engaged, we still want to keep it as relaxed as possible. So release the shoulders, release the neck, the head. No tensing up. Bring the left hand back to center. Move your hands a bit further past your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, and we will come into our first downward facing dog. So the feet are about hip width distance apart, the hands about shoulder width distance apart. The fingers are wide, so the weight can be supported by all the fingers. And you can paddle your feet to stretch into the calves, into the ankles. And keep pressing your hips up to the sky, so then the spine can be nice and long. Bring your right foot in between the hands and spin the back foot to about 45-degree angle. And we will come into warrior one. So everything is still facing forward. The whole body is facing forward. The front knee is bent. And when you find your stability, you can rise your arms up. Generous bend in the front knee, while the back foot is straightened. Building some strength here in the legs. Focus on your breaths, on the inhales and exhales. Now open the arms to the side and move your back foot so it will be parallel to the shoulder edge of the mat. So we just opened our body to the side and the front leg stays as it was. And now we are in warrior two. The arms are engaged, they are strong, not just hanging in there, really engaged. And you are looking more or less towards your middle finger. Keep pressing the front knee open to the side. Now place your hands onto your hips, spin the front foot to be parallel to the shoulder edge of the mat. Bring the heels in, toes out, and bend the knees for goddess pose. You can rest your hands onto the knees. Just don't put too much weight onto the knees. Still, most of the weight is on the legs. Keep your back flat, no rounding here. Then we will do some twists with our back. So you can drop your right elbow to the center and look across your left elbow. And switch side, the left drops, look over the right. Drop the right one. Switch. One more on each side. Now we will come onto the left foot and lower all the way to the ground, while the right leg is straightened and flexed, so the toes are pointing up, and you can keep your foot up, the heel lifted, or if it's accessible, you can maybe come all the way down, not to sit like I did. And just staying here on the foot. Stretching into the hamstrings, also into the hips. And we will switch sides, so moving in Skandasana to the right. And once more on each side, so moving to the left. And to the right. Now turn to be facing the front of the mat and come back into downward facing dog. Few breaths in here to slow down, to find steady breaths again. You can keep your knees bent, definitely. And we will do the same sequence on the other side. So now the left foot goes to the front of the mat for warrior one. So everything is facing forward. Bend the front knee. And the back leg is straightened. Finding balance and strength in here. Make sure that your weight is evenly distributed, so it is on both legs. And we will transition into warrior two, so opening to the side, spinning the back foot to be parallel to the shoulder edge of the mat, and the front leg is still bent. Bring your hands onto the hips, spin the front foot to be parallel to the left one, turn the heels in, toes out, bend the knees, again into goddess pose. Stay here for a breath or two, and then we will add the same twist, so the right shoulder drops to the middle, look over the left one. And same thing on the other side. Two more like this on each side. Come back to center. Lower down onto your right foot and straighten and flex the left foot. Skandasana. Come through the center to the left and switch side. Once more to the right foot. Back to the front of the mat. Turn to be facing forward and come back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet to the front of the mat slowly. Bend the knees generously and come all the way up to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana. So the feet are about hip-width distance apart. Shine your palms forward. And if you are comfortable, close your eyes. Find your breath rhythm. And feel all corners of the feet grounding into the mat. The earth is supporting you, your health, your baby. You are rooted to the earth And at the same time, the crown of the head is reaching up to the sky, where you are connected to the universe, to the eternity. Bring your hands to the front of the heart. Widen your stand a little bit, bring the heels in, toes out, and lower down for Yogi Squat Malasana. So if you cannot keep the feet on the mat, you can also stay just on the toes, and you can also use your hands to help with balance, just placing them in front of you. So just choose the variation that you feel comfortable with, and then you can close your eyes once more. This is a great pose for the reproductive system. It brings fresh blood and oxygen to the reproductive system, the ovaries, the uterus. And at the same time, it is really grounding, feeling more stability, security from the earth. Really great pose to do on a daily basis for a few moments. Release, you can come to sit down. Bring the soles of the feet together to touch. You can play a little bit with the distance. The closer you have the feet to your pelvis, the harder it will be. So just maybe depending on your range of motion, you can play with the distance a little bit, and you just drop the knees to the side, and then you can fall down into this butterfly fold. Stretching into the inner thighs, inner groin. Another excellent pose for the reproductive system, for fertility. And this is also one of the best poses that you can do to be getting ready for the birth. It makes the hip area, the pelvic region stretched, released. No tension is held in the lower body. Focus on your breath. It's just you and your breath now. Nothing else. Nothing else to do. Not thinking about the day you've had so far. Not thinking of the day that is about to come. It's just here and now. Slowly be mindful of your back, come all the way up, bring the knees together to center, and you can extend your legs to the side for straddle fold. So now stretching into the hamstrings for change. So you can stay up here if this is already enough of a stretch, or you can just fall down, and it is a passive fold, so we are not trying to push or pull anything. I'm even having my palms facing up, so it reminds me not to pull or push. So really very passive and just letting the gravity do the work for us. Doesn't matter how far you get in the pose, the benefits will be the same regardless. Come slowly back up again. Keep in mind your back. Bring the knees back together, and one last pose before we come into Shavasana, our final resting pose, will be Reclined Hero. So you can come to sit onto your heels with the knees bent, and then you want to place the shins right next to the thighs. The knees don't have to be really so close together, maybe you can have them a little bit spread wide. And we are trying to stretch into the quads here, into the thighs, but also into the psoas that is connected to the reproductive system, so it also stretches really the pelvic region. So you can stay here if this is already enough of a stretch. Make sure that you tilt your pelvis, your tailbone under, so then you will even feel more of sensation. So stay here if this is enough, or then you can just try to lower down, maybe on your forearms, or if you are enough flexible, you can lower all the way down. Just one thing to be mindful of are the knees. If you feel any pain, anything weird going on in the knees, it's not worth it. So you can stay in the straddle as we did before, or you can choose the butterfly fold that we did as well. Just choose one of these poses instead. Let's slowly come up if you were reclined, and slowly come back to seated position. Maybe your knees, your thighs are a bit stiff. Completely normal. It's an intense pose. You can shake it out, bend the knees, and just drop them from side to side. And now do any little movements that you need to before we come into Shavasana, our final resting pose. So take lots of space. The palms are facing up. And just allow yourself these last moments of complete relaxation. Trust your body that all is well, that your baby is healthy and developing properly. And just come back to your natural breath, nothing forced. Can be through the mouth, through the nose, whatever feels good at the moment. Slowly start moving your fingers, your toes to wake up the body. Stretch out long, like you're just waking up in the morning. And then roll onto one side. And come back to the seated position where we started together. Bring your hands in front of the heart for Anjali Mudra. Close your eyes. And once more, feel the connection with you, your baby, and your intuition. In today's world, just the outside world feels like it's so much. It gives us advice, it gives us suggestions, whatever it is, distractions, that sometimes it is really hard to hear our own intuition, our gut feeling, but know that it is there, it's never been gone. You just need to learn how to listen to it more again. Trust your body and know that the body is there to support you. Let's hear this practice with the chant of Om one time together, so we can connect with each other and with the universe. So take a deep breath in. Om. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed the class. On my website I have also affirmation cards for the first trimester, for those of you who are maybe feeling a little bit anxious and struggling with believing that everything is alright. I'll make sure to put the link below in the notes, so you can just go and check it out on my website. And what I would love to hear from you in the comments is, maybe after how long was your fertility journey until you finally got your pregnancy test positive. If you are okay sharing, of course. I just believe that it can really motivate other women that are on this journey, that it can happen even after a longer time, and just to give them some hope and positivity. Thank you again. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you practicing with me again really soon. Have a nice day. Bye.